So Don, we are here to discuss MTR design, a very hot topic right now. Do you feel like some people have maybe rushed into installs without giving proper thought to room design, and are we now having to go back in and redo them?
I think it's a very good question, and in terms of when we look at some statistics, we look at 73% of employees now want to work remotely still. We've got 43% of those employees that want to work remotely but join those meetings remotely feel a bit disconnected from the room, and we're now looking from 8% of 9 million meeting rooms worldwide have only been enabled for video. We follow a simple track, and exactly the same with Microsoft. We look to do a few things. We engage with the client to see what their strategy is towards hybrid work. We explore to see what their pain points were previously. We then try to excite them with features that address those pain points, and then we empower them with the technology. And I think when you follow that ethos in the design, it's very, very difficult to do that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I may be thinking maybe part of the problem is that people don't have that same methodology, sadly. Yeah. I mean, would we be able to talk about a one design fits all plan with MTRs, or do you think that's just not relevant really?
I think when we look at the collateral that's available from Microsoft, we're looking at things like they want room standards created. Yeah. And within those room standards, you've got the archetypes, focus, huddle, small, medium, large, and extra large. And then you've got the personas of those rooms. So I think it's very difficult to put a one size fits all in. Previously, when MTR first came out, I think there was a lot of solutions that came out. A lot of the features that we've got now from Microsoft weren't available. Yeah. So those one size fit all, they were sort of relevant to the rooms. Now it's a little bit difficult.
So even in a couple of years, you've seen that really shift then?
Massively, massively, yeah. A lot of people would look, and we were simply asked previously, why don't we have packages on the website? And the reason being is if we look at a floor plan, general arrangement from an architect or a fit out company, it's very easy to typify a room and say, oh, that room is 4 meters long by 3 meters wide, this goes into it. But once you go and you dig a little bit deeper, you find out that the architecture doesn't lend itself to a simple bar. You know, you're finding now that people want glass walls in the meeting rooms. You know, we're finding now that lighting is quite poor in meeting rooms. Acoustics are bad because of that. And then you're looking at the sort of where people are re-imaging their workspace. They want these open industrial ceilings, and all of those things present challenges to the technology that's there to facilitate the...
It's great from a design point of view, but not great from an AV point of view.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you mentioned there, are we now moving from, it used to be, you know, the long end of the room would have the screen at the end so you could fit as many seats in as possible, but that's not always great from a kind of vision of the screen point of view. We're now moving to more wider rooms rather than thinner rooms. Have you seen a shift there?
I think what I've seen is where people want to re-image their workspace, we talk about buzzwords like hybrid, return to work, all of those sorts of things. People want to make sure that they're empowering their workforce to have these meetings. They want to tackle things like meeting fatigue. They want the quality there. They want to foster that adoption of these spaces, make them easy to use. You know, they want that inclusivity. You know, how do we make that level playing field for everybody, both remote and in room? The problem that I see a lot of the time is they don't always engage with a consultant or an AV integrator first. They will go to a design company where the architect's looking at their take on the modern workplace, and we're seeing a lot of challenging environments where people still want that bowling alley table or they want a round meeting table. So we then come in, we want to discuss furniture shape, which is pretty prevalent now from the Microsoft side of things, you know, and how do we look at a room archetype, for example, and have that rather than the round table. We're looking at what we call the guitar pick style table, and then a table behind it which is raised to allow people to go and further sort of join in the meeting, but without distraction.
The furniture is becoming a discussion as well now, aside from the AV itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you've got other challenges where people want to think outside the design of a standard MTR and introduce more inputs at the table for users and things like that. So that all is relevant to the furniture design. But as an AV integrator, we sometimes get called in after that's happened, and then we start to speak about furniture design, but it's very difficult at that stage to be able to say, look, let us help you with your meeting rooms. What do you want to achieve, and let us help you do that.
Yeah. Finally, I just wanted to get your opinion on the 21.9 format. How popular maybe you think that would be? Because certain people I've spoken to said this could be a seismic game changer for MTRs. Other people have said they think the take up is going to be very low. Where do you guys kind of stand in that?
I think it's an educational thing. I think and we've been very big on POC, and when you look at front row as a layout and what it actually gives you, it's very, very informative for certain room types. And going back to Microsoft's, where we talk about the archetypes for rooms, and then we look at things like what encompasses a standard room and what encompasses what they now call signature. And signature is what brings the 21:9 format front row into it. And I think once people understand that the signature room and its use and what it's there to deliver, that they will be popular. Obviously, we have to look at things like budget, because when you move to that format, we're looking at either projection or screens, which now new to the market but still carry a big price point. So working with the right customers and working with the right level of user in there, I think there will be an uptake. Will it be a quick one? I'm not so sure. We've engaged with people on front row, but they like to think more of the wider real estate and how can they fit more meeting rooms into their footprint.
It was interesting to see in the Microsoft spec that they announced that projection was actually part of the kind of ideal room setup. I think it took a lot of people by surprise. Were you surprised by that? Because obviously meeting rooms have all moved away from that in the last 10 years.
I was very, very surprised. I thought that they might use the direct view LED, but when you look at the benefit that projection offers in that space and how the pitch is handled and contrast, etc., then it makes sense. There was the challenge about where the camera needed to be in a front row layout, and I think Microsoft have addressed that brilliantly with the furniture design. I know that from them working in Hive and alongside people like Greg Jeffries, they've come up with a pretty good solution there. So
brilliant. Don, always great to talk to you about MTRs. You know a lot more than I ever will. Don, many thanks for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you.